A shriek in the dark, the universal language of fear. The campfire crackles, shadows dance, someone whispers a ghost story. We all lean closer, a shiver running down our spines. Why? Why do we love to be scared? From spooky campfire tales to blockbuster horror movies, fear, it seems, is a universal language. We flock to haunted houses, binge-watch scary movies, and devour horror novels. But what is it about this genre that draws us in, that makes our hearts race and our palms sweat? Thrill seekers, embracing the darkness within. It's a journey into the unknown, a dance with the shadows that lurk in the corners of our minds. Some of us are thrill seekers, wired to crave the rush of adrenaline. We seek out experiences that push us to the edge, that make our hearts race and our senses tingle. Horror movies offer a safe space to indulge this desire. They allow us to confront our fears in a controlled environment, to face the monsters without real-world consequences. We get to experience the thrill of danger, the excitement of the unknown, all from the comfort of our couches. It's a paradox of feeling safe while being scared, a unique blend of comfort and terror. It's a controlled fear, a way to test our limits without actually facing real danger. We can scream, we can jump, but we know deep down that we're safe. Think about it. Riding a roller coaster is exhilarating, even though we know we're safe. The loops, the drops, the speed, they all give us a taste of danger, but with the assurance of safety. Horror movies offer a similar thrill, a safe dive into the depths of fear. They let us explore the dark side of our psyche, to confront the unknown and the terrifying.
The psychology behind this is fascinating. Our brains are wired to respond to threats, real or imagined, in very similar ways. Our brains, you see, don't always differentiate between real and imagined threats. When we watch a horror movie, the fear feels real, even though we know it's not. When we watch a horror movie, our bodies release adrenaline and other hormones, just as they would if we were in actual danger. Our heart rate increases, our palms sweat, and our muscles tense up. This triggers a fight or flight response, a primal instinct that keeps us alive. It's an ancient mechanism designed to protect us from predators and other threats. But in the safe environment of a movie theater or our living rooms, this response becomes a source of excitement, a rush of pure adrenaline. We can laugh, we can scream, and we can enjoy the ride, knowing that we're in no real danger. It's a thrilling paradox, a way to embrace the darkness within without being consumed by it.
The tightrope walk suspense and the art of anticipation. Horror isn't just about jump scares and gore, though those have their place. It's about suspense, the slow, agonizing build-up of tension. It's the creaking door, the footsteps in the dark, the music that swells just as the monster is about to strike. This anticipation, this tightrope walk between safety and fear, is where horror truly shines.
Think of the classic shower scene in Psycho. The slow, deliberate shots, the screeching violins, the anticipation of something terrible about to happen. It's masterful suspense. Our hearts pound, our breath catches in our throats, and we're on the edge of our seats, waiting for the inevitable. And this, my friends, is the magic of horror.
The body electric, our physical response to fear. It's a fascinating and complex reaction that has evolved over millions of years to keep us safe from danger. When we watch a horror movie, our bodies react as if we were in a real-life nightmare. The brain can't always distinguish between real and imagined threats, so it triggers the same fight-or-flight response. Our pupils dilate, taking in every detail of the terrifying scene unfolding before us. This heightened state of awareness is our body's way of preparing to react quickly to any potential danger. Our heart rate and blood pressure spike, pumping adrenaline through our veins. This surge of adrenaline gives us the energy and strength to either fight off the threat or run away from it. We might even find ourselves holding our breath, our muscles tense, ready to jump out of our skin at the slightest noise. This is our body's way of staying as quiet and still as possible to avoid detection by a predator.
This physiological response is part of what makes horror so compelling. It's a primal reaction that taps into our deepest fears and survival instincts. It's a full-body experience, a visceral reaction to the fear and anxiety we see on screen. Every muscle, every nerve is on high alert, creating an intense and immersive experience. And while it might not seem enjoyable in the moment, this rush of adrenaline, this primal fear response, is actually quite addictive. The thrill of being scared, the excitement of the unknown keeps us coming back for more. It's why we find ourselves drawn back to horror movies again and again, seeking that same thrill, that same rush of fear. It's a safe way to experience danger and excitement, knowing that we're ultimately in no real danger.
A symphony of screams, the sounds of terror. Sound plays a crucial role in horror. amplifying our fear and immersing us in the experience. From the subtle creak of a floorboard to the blood-curdling scream of a victim, every sound is meticulously crafted to evoke a visceral reaction. The auditory elements in horror films are not just background noise, they are integral to the storytelling, guiding our emotions and heightening the suspense.
The screech of a violin, the sudden clang of a metal door, the guttural growl of a monster. These sounds send shivers down our spines and make our hearts leap into our throats. Each sound is carefully chosen to elicit a specific response, whether it's a jolt of fear or a lingering sense of unease. The violin's screech, for instance, can mimic the sound of a scream, while the clang of a door can signify an inescapable trap. The growl of a monster, hidden in the shadows, taps into our primal fears of the unknown. They create an atmosphere of dread, signaling that danger is lurking around every corner. The soundscape of a horror film is designed to keep us on edge, making us hyper-aware of every creak and whisper. In a dark, ominous corridor, or a spooky forest with low fog, the sounds we hear, or don't hear, can be just as terrifying as the visuals.
Think about the iconic score of Jaws. Those two simple notes, repeated with increasing intensity, are enough to evoke terror in anyone who's seen the film. The music builds anticipation, making us feel the impending threat even before we see the shark. It's a masterclass in how sound can manipulate our emotions, creating a sense of dread that lingers long after the movie is over, or the eerie silence that often precedes a jump scare, a silence so profound that it makes the sudden burst of noise all the more startling. This silence is a psychological trick, lulling us into a false sense of security before shattering it with a loud, unexpected sound. It's a technique that keeps us on the edge of our seats, our nerves frayed and our senses heightened.
Sound is a powerful tool in the horror filmmaker's arsenal, used to manipulate our emotions and heighten our fear. Directors and sound designers work meticulously to create a soundscape that is both immersive and terrifying. From the faintest whisper to the loudest scream, every sound is engineered to keep us engaged and on edge. The next time you watch a horror film, pay close attention to the sounds. They are the unseen characters that make the experience truly terrifying.
The monster within, facing our inner demons. Horror often explores the darkest corners of the human psyche, forcing us to confront our deepest fears and anxieties.
It delves into themes of death, insanity, and the unknown, themes that we often shy away from in our everyday lives. But by facing these fears in the safe confines of fiction, we gain a sense of control over them.
Consider the classic horror film, The Exorcist. It tackles the terrifying concept of demonic possession, a fear that is deeply ingrained in many cultures. By watching the film, we confront this fear head-on, exploring its origins and its potential consequences.
And while the film is undoubtedly terrifying, it also offers a sense of catharsis, a feeling that we have faced our fears and emerged stronger on the other side.
Catharsis and popcorn, finding release in the darkness. There's a strange sense of catharsis that comes with watching a horror movie. We experience a roller coaster of emotions, fear, anxiety, disgust, even laughter, and emerge from the experience feeling strangely cleansed.
It's like facing our fears in a controlled environment allows us to release pent-up anxieties and emerge feeling lighter, freer.
Think of it like this. Life can be stressful. We bottle up our anxieties, our fears, our frustrations. Horror movies offer a safe outlet for these emotions. We can scream, we can jump, we can even laugh in the face of fear.
And when the credits roll, we've released some of that pent-up tension, leaving the theatre feeling a little bit lighter, a little bit more at ease.
From scream to sleep, the afterglow of fear, the effects of a good horror movie don't end when the credits roll. We might find ourselves checking under the bed before going to sleep, or, jumping at shadows in the dark. But this lingering fear is often accompanied by a strange sense of exhilaration, a feeling of having stared into the abyss and lived to tell the tale. This afterglow of fear can actually be quite enjoyable. It's a reminder of the thrill we experienced, the adrenaline rush, the sense of having faced our fears and survived. And in a world that often feels too safe, too predictable, this brush with danger, even if it's just fictional, can be strangely invigorating.
Why do we love horror movies? The answer is complex, a tapestry woven from psychology, biology, and the simple human need to confront our fears. We crave the adrenaline rush, the suspense, the cathartic release. We enjoy the challenge of facing our fears in a safe environment, of exploring the darkest corners of our minds and emerging unscathed. Horror, at its core, is a reflection of ourselves. It shows us the monsters we fear, both real and imagined, and reminds us that we have the strength to confront them. And in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, there's a strange comfort in that.
More than just jump scares, the depth and variety of horror. Horror is a diverse genre, offering something for everyone. From the psychological thrillers that mess with our minds to the slasher flicks that get our hearts racing, there's a subgenre for every taste. Some horror movies make us think, others make us scream, and some even manage to do both. The beauty of horror lies in its ability to tap into our deepest fears and anxieties, to explore the dark side of humanity and the unknown. It's a genre that constantly evolves, finding new ways to scare us, to challenge us, and to remind us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we create ourselves.
Lights up, facing our fears and embracing the genre. So, the next time you find yourself reaching for the remote, ready to dive into a world of terror, remember this: you're not alone. The love of horror is a universal language, a shared experience that connects us all. It's a way to confront our fears, to test our limits, and to emerge from the darkness feeling a little bit more alive. Now dim the lights, turn up the volume, and embrace the thrill of the unknown. The horror movie is about to begin.